What's up everybody, it is I, Hero Angel, and welcome back to the Forest Cup. Today, we're gonna do my very first deep dive, and it's gonna be about Kingdra. Now, I have a lot of feelings when it comes to this Pokemon. Just to give you some backstory, I used this Pokemon back in Timeless, I think it was. Children, back in my day, OCTAZOOKA debuff was 50-50. And that's kind of like how the tournament went for me. It was bad. It was really bad because I was betting on that 50% chance to get that massive debuff. Well, I mean, you know, it's a 50% chance to get a -2 attack on your opponent, and that is probably gonna flip a lot of matches. It is going to flip a lot of matches for sure. And if you think about it, right, for Ancient Power, which we're, you know, hoping, praying to get for Go Battle League, which we do often get. I'm not sure how lucky you are, but for me, I get it fairly often, right? It's only 10%. So it was very tempting for me, but my mistake was actually not looking at the actual coverage of Kingdra. I was betting on the fact that I will get the OCTAZOOKA debuff. I had very RPS teams, meaning if I didn't get the switch advantage, I was doomed, right? And I did very poorly. I would say I got like 3 wins, 4 losses on my weighted, and that was my worst Silpharina tournament for Season 2. But the question stands, my friends. Does Kingdra swim past its fellow waters to claim the title of King of the Seas? Or is it just paper coverage? So let me show you what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna compare Kingdra to the number 1 and the number 2 water type, which is Mantine and Swamperto. Swamperto versus Mantine versus Kingdra. Let's see who wins. Kingdra is currently number 18 in the whole entire cup and number 5 with the water types. Let's start off with the grass type coverage, and it's looking okay. It holds up against Mantine, and Mantine's well, one big thing about Mantine is that it can kill some grass types. In my Meta Simplified guide, I actually emphasized that Mantine is a standout water type because it does have some grass type coverage with Meganium, and Ferrothorn there is playable, but there's a trick where if Ferrothorn doesn't block the first thing, it just makes it a sure win for Ferrothorn, right? But for Kingdra, it actually has Cradily. Now let's focus more on the Kingdra matchups. Now, Ferrothorn is a very important Pokemon for the Forest Cup. This thing has been on multiple teams that I have checked and balanced over the weekend for my Patreons for their early tournaments, and it is looking good. This is a very good Pokemon, and I would say that this is also one of your pillars for Kingdra counters, right? Because it not only handles Kingdra in the zero shield scenario, 0 shield throw, 1 shield, but it also has fantastic coverage outside, right? So it can do this, but if Kingdra blocks twice and you opted not to block right here, right, then it will not serve its purpose as a Kingdra counter. And so if the switch advantage is very important to you in your match, then block. Don't follow my graphic. Don't do the 0 shield throw, 1 shield, because if Kingdra gets through and then your next Pokemon comes out and then it gets hard countered with your opponent's next Pokemon, then that really sucks because you needed that switch advantage. But if your goal is to burn the shields from your opponent, to have the shield advantage because you have like a heavy finisher type Pokemon in the back, let's say Swampert, right, with Sludge Wave, yeah, then go for it. Also very important is that if Kingdra swaps in, Ferrothorn is a very good swap in, like a counter swap into it, because if you match the shields, you come out with like a good amount of HP. Even if you get hit with the OCTAZOOKA debuff, it's all good. Now, to compare and contrast this to Meganium, flimsy, my friends. Very, very flimsy. You get hit with the OCTAZOOKA. Okay, it looks pretty clean right there. It definitely 55 HP, but if you get hit with the OCTAZOOKA debuff, it's 2 HP, right? So right now, if you have Meganium as my 1 Kingdra counter, or like one of the 2 Kingdra counters that I have, you better have really good IVs, guys. You better have like top-notch Meganium IVs. So for the grass type coverage, overall, I would say not bad. Not bad. A clean win against Cradily. I mean, some people might swap in their Cradily on your Kingdra, and they, you know, they might be surprised. So, how you doing? Mantine only really has Meganium, so, you know, one, not bad. Swampert doesn't have any, plus it's a mud boy. I mean, come on, right? So yeah, not bad. Moving on to the bug type coverage. Now, the green isn't here, but that is specifically for Kingdra. It is OCTAZOOKA debuff. dependent, right? So Galvantula, you have to get the OCTAZOOKA debuff to win. Crustle, you have to get the OCTAZOOKA debuff to win. And then with Scolipede, it's just a playable match, right? It's not good. It's definitely not good compared to Mantine and Swampert. They have, well, Mantine has one at least, right? It's a very I feel like it's gonna be a very uncommon Pokemon, but we'll see in the early tournaments how the Scolipede statistics are. But Swampert, well, you know, I mean, that's a pretty good Bug Squisher plus Galvantula. I think is a very strong Pokemon. That's a very important win right there. So Kingdra versus the Bugs versus the other water types, it doesn't really hold up. And it's starting to show its dependency on the OCTAZOOKA debuff. Now, I'm not sure how you guys think, right? Some people like me see this and they go like, all right, so that's not a sure match. All right, I'm not gonna count that. Other people might be like, so what you're saying is I can win against Galvantula. Alright. Again, guys, just throwing back to my story at the start of the video, right? That's how I was thinking for my timeless, and I ended up with a 3 wins, 4 loss weighted cup. I want you to get a 7-0, alright? I don't think like it's a trap. It's a trap. Moving on to the water type coverage. Again, nothing really to add here because Mantine, you have to land the outrage. And with Swampert, you have to get that debuff. But I think it's a playable match. I think Swampert has to land the Earthquake. So I guess playable OCTAZOOKA debuff type situation. And then forget about Lantern, alright? Forget about Lantern. But these two Pokemon, very important, I would say. And this doesn't really add more coverage to Kingdra, right? What we're really looking for here is, does Kingdra have solid coverage plus some, you know, possible wins with the OCTAZOOKA debuff type situation? And right now, what do we have, guys? This is the half mark, all right? We have only 5 elements in the Forest Cup. What do we have for coverage? Cradilly. Bruh. What? Well. Alright, but don't throw your Kingdras out just yet. Alright, don't do it. Mantine can kill Swampert. That's friggin' awesome. Swampert loses to Mantine. Whatever, we're focused on Kingdra. Fire type coverage. It's the best. It's the best, right? Now, when I did my meta simplified guide for the water types, I said that Mantine was the best, but no, Kingdra takes the spot here. You know what I mean? You just Dragon Breath down, you come out with like 42 HP, 72 energy. How much is an OCTAZOOKA? It is 50 energy. You get 1 throw on the next Pokemon, and if it doesn't kill you fast enough, you might get to another one, right? So that's a 50-50% and another 50-50% debuff chance on the next Pokemon. That's a pretty solid setup for a sweep, I would say. Or if you're feeling spicy, you can go for the, Blizzard. No. You can go for the Outrage, which is 60 energy, you know, 1 throw, alright? But your opponent might be like, it's a OCTAZOOKA. And on the flip side, alright, the sunny side, Sunny Castform is an amazing matchup for Kingdra because you come out with 100 energy and even more HP, 68 HP. Right? So that is a lot. That's 2 OCTAZOOKAs and maybe another one or maybe 2 Outrages. So yeah, that's big. If you compare that to Mantine, which was the previous best anti-fire water type, 1 shield farm and then 0 shield throw on Sunny Castform, I mean, that's pretty close, but it's not as devastating as a well-fed Kingdra with OCTAZOOKA, with Outrage, and a sinister, sick person behind it. And yeah, this is great. This is really great. Finally, we have the electric type coverage, and I'd say, you know, it's better than Mantine. It gets that Ampharos match. Is Ampharos gonna be in the tournaments? I would say, yeah, it's got some play, alright, I would say. It's the electric type that has some grass type coverage, you know, with the Ferrothorn and with the Cradilly. But more important is, I want to correct my electric meta simplified guide. I said that Magnezone has this clean. It does not. If you get the OCTAZOOKA debuff on if the sim will let me get the OCTAZOOKA debuff on Magnezone, you can actually get to another OCTAZOOKA, there we go, for the kill. Which is really unfortunate because during this whole video, which Pokemon did I highlight as a counter to Kingdra? Which one Pokemon did I highlight as a counter to Kingdra? It's Ferrothorn, and then Meganium is iffy, right? And I have been having this problem over the weekend of balancing teams, double checking my Patreon's teams. They've all got Kingdra problems. They've all got issues with Kingdra. They only have one counter to it. It's Ferrothorn, and Ferrothorn does it well, but what else? So here's the situation. Let me break it down for you, right? We have Kingdra here, and it has devastating wins against Blaziken, Sunny Castform, Ampharos, and then Cradily is an added bonus. So 4 Pokemon. That's just 4 Pokemon out of the entire meta. It's underwhelming, clean coverage wise. But the scary thing about it is, what Pokemon really counter it in the seemingly popular meta? Ferrothorn. What else? And so I was playing around with some simulations looking for other counters to it. Azumarill, sure, might be okay, right? Compared to Mantine, it's not as good. Had to review my notes here, but you don't clean counter Sludge Wave Swampert. You lose the Meganium matchup. Jumpluff becomes a problem as well. You lose a couple of matchups with Azu over Mantine, but you do cover Kingdra here. Let's take a quick look-see at PV Poke. What counters are available to us. Magnezone. That's a lie. Obviously, if it gets the OCTAZOOKA debuff, it's not a counter anymore. Meganium is super tight. The rest of these Pokemon, Azumarill right there. Okay, that's legit. That's legit. The rest of these Pokemon, you're gonna have to test if they lose to OCTAZOOKA debuff, and also you're gonna have to test if they're worth it in the meta, right? What if the only thing that they beat is Kingdra and the rest, they kind of suck at it. Okay, all right, so what is my final verdict for Kingdra? Is good, I'd say. It's definitely something you should be covering on your team. Alright? The hard part is covering it on your team because you have the Ferrothorn. What else? What else you got? Okay, you gotta think about this, okay? Now it's underwhelming, clean coverage wise, so if you want to use it on your team, have a thick team. You want them coverage numbers, alright? You want them coverage numbers, but for the fire, you can lean back on Kingdra a little bit here, alright? You want Kingdra to be just a nice add-on, right? And also something to stress your opponent out with when they start reading your team, right? If you see on their team they have Ferrothorn, no other Kingdra counter, don't jump in and use your Kingdra as the lead, right? Don't do that, because that's what I did. I was betting I can beat that with the OCTAZOOKA debuff. I can beat that with the OCTAZOOKA. I can do this. Okay, 4 out of 5, except that it's actually just 1, and the 3 I need the OCTAZOOKA debuff. Don't do that. And also take a bath every day, alright? I see you, people in the quarantine, alright? Take a bath every day, because this boy needs the water to win, needs that OCTAZOOKA debuff to win. So pray that you get that OCTAZOOKA debuff, and pray that you get the fire matchup, because that's beautiful. If you get that, you win. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Remember to leave a like, comment down below some feedback for me. This is the first time I'm doing like a deep dive. Also, comment down below, did I get the OCTAZOOKA debuff? Subscribe if you haven't yet, ding that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys!